Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. There is another Alpha 4.3 P2 patch that I want to talk about that was released in the evening of the 6th of August. I also want to talk about my frustrations with Alpha 4.3 and playing on the PTU. I don't think I do that enough, and I do think it's a worthwhile conversation because it's kind of requesting bug fixes or talking about things that don't currently work or issues that I'm having in-game myself and other people might not be having them, and that's going to be par for the course for some people and not others, right? So I just think it's interesting that some people are going to see certain things as issues or constantly come up against a brick wall where they're like, oh, this, I don't understand, I can't do this, and other people are just going to breeze past it and it won't be a problem. And I do feel that that's a thing that I've had with Star Citizen for quite a long time, where I don't find things particularly frustrating in Star Citizen even when other people do, because I'm along for the ride and treating it as a bit of a demo and definitely as an alpha, and I enjoy the gameplay that I can do. But yeah, let me talk about that, and we talk about some of the things that are very frustrating that I found. But first, let's jump into the Alpha 4.3 PTU patch notes for the latest patch. So what do we have in the patch notes? Further Onyx facility, art, lighting, audio, VFX, and performance polish. Extensive music setup updates, including combat edits, transition rules, streaming setup, which is really good because people were complaining about the Onyx facilities not having appropriate sound and music, a bit jarring and not as good as the rest of the game. Balanced mission payouts. I haven't actually seen to what extent they've been balanced, but they continue to balance mission payouts and have the effort versus reward sort of calculations going on there. Lobby and signage has seen updates, so they've had multiple branding updates, signage fixes around those areas. Power hub, there's been some scaffolding refinement, tunnel room work, lighting cleanup. The lab areas have seen the gravity room get a lighting polish. There's been material updates, rock tweaks, caustic texture improvements, room closeout, final art passes on various rooms have been made. They've done some visual noise cleanup, mesh count reduction and better wayfinding for the elevation room. They've added dynamic snow to Bloom as well, which I believe is Pyro 3, and they've made general performance optimizations, which is always good to see. Something that they did add, which is going to make a lot of people happy, is in the in-game shops, there is now the Drake Golem, the Misk Fortune, the Morai Guardian, and the Anvil Hornet F7CS Mark II. That's the Ghost, that's the stealthier one. It is great to see these ships turn up in in-game shops and not just be exclusive to Wickelos. I do want Wickelo ships, I do want them to turn up with better components and different sort of paints and all that sort of jazz, but I do think that's going to make a lot of people pretty happy. There are a load of bug fixes in this patch as well, fixing the tutorial mission that wasn't working, lots of stuff for the Onyx facilities, getting the elevators working, the internal gates sort of opening, because sometimes they wouldn't open for like the research wing. Players trespassing would get teleported on top of the ASD facility structure. Now they should actually be teleported into the lobby if they're trying to trespass on your ship. There were some issues with party members crashing and then rejoining your party and not being able to complete missions. Also, this is pretty big for stability. The build contains partial fixes for audio client crashes while using ships. They expect them to still occur, but to be greatly reduced. So this is one of the really annoying things with Space Break and Boost that was causing crashes. So just using your boost, using Space Break could give you a very high chance of crashing to desktop. Admittedly, that sort of stuff is just something that happens in the PTU phase and often will get ironed out during an Evocati phase, but it was a very quick turnaround from Evocati to all waves PTU, and a lot of this stuff does take a little time to fix. So yeah, let me talk about this because I'm very much a Star Citizen fan. I'm a believer in the fact that they're going to make a great game, and that Squadron 42 is probably going to be pretty great. I do also think that the community is one of the best tools that Star Citizen has to help figure out what exactly the game should be at version 1 for its release and then evolve from there. But even with that trust in thinking, yeah, they're going to make a great game, I sometimes have a bad time. They get stuff wrong. And the PTU is especially frustrating at times. Like, obviously, a lot of people not particularly happy with 4.2.1 and the freight elevators and the resource drive event, although that stuff is getting a lot better. They may extend that event, they've said. Maybe they are looking at it. But Alpha 4.3 has been oddly extra frustrating for me, even though it's got a lot of great stuff in. I think that actually adds to the frustration. There are things like going around the Onyx facilities. Zin and I really frustrated with falling through the engineering section. You'd randomly fall through the floor, which is just irritating because you're stuck there, or you've got to respawn and then you've got to go and do it all again. We've also noticed that some ships that we have incredibly slow quantum travel. Now, I know this has been an issue for a while with certain ships and certain quantum drives and that sort of stuff, but it was just annoying that I was like, what? Why do I now have a variety of my ships which are... I spawn, and by default, they go incredibly slow in quantum. Rather than a few seconds to get to a moon, it'll be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Sin also crashed into a planet. Well, it wasn't her fault. It was just quantum travel. Just, yeah, we're going to ram the planet. That's really annoying when that happens. That shouldn't happen in 2025, but obviously it does. Again, it's just frustrating for Zin to go, oh, we're dead. And there was a lot of fear in 4.3 when we're getting footage and stuff because of the instability. Although it hasn't really affected me much. I haven't crashed to desktop at all, I don't think, while playing 4.3 yet, with space break and boost, as I mentioned earlier. One of the more annoying things we found was actual PvP at those Onyx facilities, which I was hoping wouldn't happen too much. Both Zin and I have been taken out at Onyx facilities by other players, often them just waiting with a sniper rifle or something, and it's not great fun. It's not hugely expected or worthwhile for them to do, even more so in the PTU. It's just super frustrating. I'm pro PvP in the right place, for loot reasons, not for the lols of just like preventing other players getting to content in what should be a pretty PvE area. I think being able to regen at those facilities, and then only if you don't have a criminal rating, would be super useful. In the Evocati phase, I was getting away with having one of my ships in the hangar off to the side that was a medical ship, and I was respawning there. But in the All Waves PTU, I haven't been able to spawn at those ships that I have in my hangar at the facility, either because I suppose they despawn them or something like that. I do think there's a few things going on here. I do think there's higher player density than normal. So there's 120 of these facilities, right? And every one we went to, there were a few players at. Now, it might be a mission distribution thing, but it might also be a me thing, where I often get a lot of footage when it's Wave 1 or Wave X in the PTU, but not open to all waves. So maybe it's because a lot more people are playing rather than testing, if you see what I mean. They're going, oh, all waves PTU, let's see what the new patch has got. Ah, cool content. And more shoot first, ask questions later. But yeah, playing 4.3 yesterday anyway felt like pulling teeth a little bit, and something I haven't really experienced much this year, which is odd because I think 4.3 has the potential to be such an amazing patch, and hopefully will be, and I haven't had so much of a bad experience with other patches, even though lots of other people would say other patches are hugely worse and this one's fine. CIG have still got a load of time to fix a load of the problems I've got with the patch for sure, and sometimes with Star Citizen you can just have a bad day where all the bugs and all the things that are possibly wrong with a patch just rear their ugly heads and prevent you from playing. And that might be doubled because when I'm trying to get footage with Zin, if one of us gets taken out or a bug happens to one of us, it's effectively happening to both of us. I just want people to know that I have frustrating days with Star Citizen 2. It's not always, this game is the best. Oh, look, I've got great frame rates. I'm not having any bugs at all. That's not the case. Zin's frame rate has been dire in 4.3, but I have had a great frame rate. I'd love to know your experiences with Alpha 4.3 and 4.2.1, the highs and lows. Obviously, 4.3 probably not coming out until later in August, so they've got time to fix a lot of this stuff. And when they have cooperative zones in-game, are they going to be able to enforce some of these PvE areas to be purely PvE? And how will they do that? As I said, I'm not against PvP, but I do want to section it off into certain areas where you sort of know what you're getting for the most part. But you don't have to agree with me with that. You can try and convince me otherwise, or tell me what your thoughts on that are. I did see another little post as well from CIG saying we're tentatively preparing Star Citizen Comms Dive 3, our next Spectrum thread answering top community questions, just like we did in the past. CIG will be trawling the Spectrum and Reddit and stuff like that, and looking for upvoted questions. I'll link the Reddit post that I saw that in where Nico responded, but also there is a Spectrum thread on that as well, and CIG, as I said, will be looking for popular and sensible questions to answer as well, because it's nice to see CIG talk about bugs and problems with the game and what they're doing to resolve them, and there are some questions that would be great for them to answer for sure. Boom! That's it for your Alpha 4.3 update today. Please tell me in the comments below your experiences with 4.3 and what you're looking forward to. I'm very much looking forward to trying out this Kruger Intergalactic Light Fighter that I'm expecting to turn up in 4.3. I'm very happy that they've added all those ships to the in-game shops with the Golem, Fortune Guardian, and the Hornet Mark II Ghost. Oh, what's that? You want to look at the comments below? You want to click on the links to NordVPN? Go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer or click the links below to get a really good deal on NordVPN, which is great because you might want a VPN at the moment. It gives you better accessibility, security, and privacy on the interwebs. It's the digital age, and NordVPN is my shield. There you go. That's an advert, isn't it? Click the links below. Help the channel out and get yourself a VPN. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and we're giving away an RSI Meteor, that new medium fighter with lifetime insurance and a gameplay package for Star Citizen. Everything you need to play with a cool fighter and pew-pew some fools. Just comment on any of our videos made during this month to be in for a chance of winning that. Something else that you might like to do is like, share, subscribe to our videos. There's a join button underneath as well. There's Patreon. You give us a little bit of money each month and it helps out the channel immensely. Occasionally we have some exclusive videos. Come to my Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer. Also, you should comment on all the videos, not just because of the giveaway, but also because you can give me feedback. And I want to say a massive thank you to the people that have supported the channel via any medium. But genuinely, you guys that go the extra mile to use that join button or Patreon, it is genuinely so appreciated. Thank you so much.